So you think computer games are more exciting than old-fashioned toys? Maybe you should think again. With the help of the great British public, it's time to liberate them from the toy cupboard, supersize them, and unleash their true potential.
On the road again.
This isn't a setup. My 30-year-old Gootsy really has packed up in the rush hour traffic. Fortunately, I'm always followed by my butler, Charlie, who helps push me to a nearby garage. There is a lesson in this. It's an Italian bike. It has electrical components on it. It's not designed to be used in the rain. When you think that it was actually an Italian who invented electricity, it's amazing that after all this time they still can't use it. Of them. The 13-year-olds went mad with excitement. And, as if I needed to, I offered them a further incentive to get stuck into Airfix. And if you do like it, I've got some other Airfix-related stunts and activities lined up that you can come and help me with. But only if you like it. If you turn out to be absolutely useless at it, I'll have to go to a school in Yorkshire or something. When I was a lad, Airfix was a joy, but a joy tempered with deep frustration. In this age of shallow fads and swift gratification, it seems that it still is. And that's good.
What's happened?
I just stuck it and now it's out and now them come loose.
Did you break that in a rage?
Maybe.
Maybe you did, didn't you?
No. It's fun, it's just really frustrating.
Bored, miserable, you never really wanted to be an accountant? Come to the plasticine stand near the underground entrance. Roll up, roll up. Plasticine stand. Come to the plasticine stand. It's by the underground station. It's free, it's fun. It's educational and it's therapeutic.
What am I doing with it?
Anything you like. I'm looking for hidden plasticine talent. What time is your husband arriving?
5 minutes ago.
He's obviously left you. You may as well come and play with plasticine.
Oh, yeah.
Carry on. Gradually, more and more people turned up to stun me with breathtaking sculptures.
Right, team.
I send a package to the headmaster.
Dear class, please find enclosed some tanks to make. These are quite fiddly, so please be patient and take your time. 2 boxes of tanks. Chieftain tanks and T62 tanks.
I'm effectively asking modern children to spend a few evenings in the 1960s. I'd have them eating spam fritters as well, to get the full effect.
You've got to find that bit 2A. They're normally numbered.
But here's something I hadn't reckoned with. The dads.
I played with Airfixes when I was a kid all the time. I had Phantoms, I had tanks, I had everything. Aircraft carriers, the whole lot. You know, I'm still reliving my childhood, to be honest.
Yeah, he's a big kid.
Yeah.
Putting things together, manufacturing something, getting an end result.
And getting them perfect.
Trying to get them perfect, paint them and make them as good as possible.
So the dads get it, but their children are still tolerating me with bemused indifference.
I think Airfix is really evil because of all the little parts and like sticking it together and then it falls apart on you when you've worked so hard.
It's a school day, so I've decided we should have a school trip on a bus. In my day, we'd have amused ourselves by making rude gestures at lorry drivers. Do you normally play with mobile phones and iPods on bus trips? Yeah. Is that all you ever do? I was in sight of the showground, but unfortunately, getting into Chelsea has never been straightforward.
Go to Battersea first, I'm afraid. Right, I'm sorry. Pull over here, we'll sort it out for you.
Oh, Battersea's bloody miles away.
It's across the bridge.
Because there are so many vans trying to get in, there is a queue that stretches back over a mile from the gate. So I'm left in limbo while the officials decide if I can jump to the front or not.
I've just took you outside of the lorry here, and we'll sort you out. I'll get security to come and escort you in.
So does that mean I don't have to go to Battersea?
I'll try and avoid it for you if I can.
I'll give you £1 million.
Thank you very much.
That's a deal.
We definitely don't have to go to Battersea.
Right. Just edit that out afterwards.
Okay. Right. Give it a bit more.
That's my front right
That's
now.
about right. Keep the power up. Plenty of power. Yeah, flat out. Go over it. Oh yes. I love that noise. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. And stop out there. You'll be alright.
There's the box with artwork. It's a Spitfire.
When I saw the kit, I was like, oh my god, we're never going to be able to do this because it was absolutely massive. I was really shocked that it was actually that big, and I was like, how are we going to stick this together with glue like that?
Mad idea.
We're here to introduce you today to the Bridge of No Return.
Do you want me to demonstrate the model? You'll walk onto this bridge. Your momentum and your weight will actually operate this bridge.
I know what's going to happen. Yeah, I can see
So that you will stand on this end. As you walk, this is a curved structure. As you walk along this curved structure, your weight will end up pushing this down. This will come across now. As soon as you step back on here, the counterweight on this will make this pull back, and you will be transported across the river. And this will happen once only.
What happens if you come in the other way?
You can't.
Hence the Bridge of No Return. The Bridge of No Return, right. It's funny.
It's lovely.
It's brilliant. It's just a wonderful idea. 10 out of 10 for imagination. Well, I know, but as long as you...
Luckily, my father has turned up to help. Only right, really, because this is all his fault.
I have to confess I initiated him with a Spitfire. That was his first Airfix model. And we did it together. It was a gift for him to start with in the local newsagent shop, a little Airfix kit. And then he became a regular visitor to the local newsagents when he saved up enough money to buy the next kit and the next kit and so on.
Could be useful. I have to say, though, that I am slightly disappointed in the French. They really should know better.
This was completed about 10 years before Frank Hornby came up with his revolutionary metal construction toy for children, and it might easily have been the inspiration for it, because it's made up out of standardised parts that were constructed off-site and then brought here and put together like a giant kit. And did you know that if you scribe a circle around the base of the Eiffel Tower and then raise it up to the height of the Eiffel Tower, then the mass of the air within that cylinder would be greater than the mass of the metal in the tower itself. And if you melted the Eiffel Tower down and cast it in an ingot the size of its footprint, it would be no more than about 100 millimeters tall. In fact, if each individual fact known about the Eiffel Tower were written on a piece of bog roll, Paris could wipe its bum for a month.
Such is the nature of fatuous facts about famous buildings. Maybe the press officer, Marta Oswald, can do better.
If I jumped off the top, how long would it take before I reached the ground?
Well, from the top to the ground, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, by the lifts.
No, if I jumped off, I mean.
If you jumped.
Yeah.
Christ say, don't do that.
No, I'm not going to. I just wondered statistically how long it would take.
I don't know. We're not really interested in such questions.
How many London double-decker buses could you fit in the space under the legs?
I don't know.
Why don't you know? I thought you were an expert. I know this is going to sound a bit nerdy and sentimental for a 46-year-old man, but this is actually something I dreamt about when I was about 6 or 7 years old. Could you make an Airfix model the size of a real aeroplane? And there it is, look. There are the wings of the giant Airfix. There are the wings of the original kit. There's the giant Airfix fuselage. There's the original Airfix fuselage. I never thought that would actually happen. And there it is. That's excellent. Hello.
Hello.
You must be the assessors.
We've come to assess. That's all right now.
Things went from the sublime to the ridiculous when the judges failed to grasp the meaning of a plasticine garden.
Ignore the polystyrene. That's just...
But you're not using any real plants?
No, we didn't have to.
Oh, but this is a flower show.
Yes, I know, but I have special dispensation from the committee.
Oh, okay.
They said
But
I didn't have...
if you're entering this into a flower show, we have to judge. There are 30 points awarded for flowers.
Well, there's hundreds of flowers.
They're not real ones.
But where does it say real?
Flowers generally real, yeah.
What I like about students is their unflappable youthful optimism.
Possible failure mode sweepstake. So the so the failure is James thrown into dock. Architects get it right. Sabotage. Well-known engineering firm gets it very wrong. Bridge gets stolen. It appears to be there. And the reason for this apparently is that it has to be there because you have to have something called an uninterrupted sightline that way, but not that way. So actually the person who commissioned this drawing, which was me, got that wrong. And the worrying thing is you can be marked down if your garden does not match your illustration. Up to 20% of the marks can be lost for that. So we can either redo the garden the other way round, or I could lose this drawing.
Time to rally the troops for one final push.
Men, women, you stand alone. Stop laughing. There are people who are saying this bridge cannot be built. They are saying that Meccano is a mere plaything whose time has passed. However, and on the contrary, I believe we are about to see its finest hour. Anything else that you achieve in life will forever be in the shadow of this great bridge and the one that it casts upon the world. Crikey, that's quite high. And that may be a bit of an exaggeration, but it's quite a good bridge. I give you 1 week. Carry on, and Godspeed, your spanner. Brothers, sisters, I have in my hand a piece of paper, and what it says is that our garden has failed to win a medal at Chelsea. I think what we are seeing here is the beginning of a revolution. The first crack of a giant fissure that will divide society into them and us. This, people, is our winter palace. And when you are old, you will be able to tell your children and your grandchildren that you were there when it started. You were there in the people's plasticine garden.
I didn't pass my driving test until 1980, but by the early 70s I already owned several cars, and they were real exotics, capable of terrifying performance. And because I was only 8 and I didn't really know what I was doing, I crashed them all the time, horribly. Despite this, one of them survives. And here it is, my Mini Cooper. All original, still a runner, one careless owner. No real car I've ever owned was half as much fun as this one. Until the 1950s, domestic motor racing was a distinctly wind-up business, and one that wound down again quite quickly. But in 1957, all that changed when Scalextric released their revolutionary electric slot cars into the British household. car ownership was becoming a reality for ordinary people, and Britain had motor racing heroes to celebrate: Mike Hawthorn, Peter Collins, Stirling Moss. Now their triumphs could be relived in the comfort of the sitting room using nothing more than a deft index finger. Brooklands Racetrack opened in Weybridge, Surrey in 1907.
The motto at Brooklands is always more speed and yet more.
For the very first time, the newfangled motor car could race on a permanent banked circuit and reach speeds never achieved before. Many records have been set and broken at Brooklands. In 1913, Percy Lambert became the first man to drive 100 miles in less than an hour, meaning he achieved an average speed of, well, about 100 miles an hour. But in World War II, the complex was turned into a massive aeroplane factory, and racing stopped forever. Today, it is impossible to drive a lap of Brooklands. Only about half of the circuit survives, and it's interrupted by a river, fences, roads, houses, and offices. The famous clubhouse is now just a sleepy museum.
These days, of course, Brooklands is the sort of place where people come for a cup of tea, where you might find a classic car club getting together to swap grommets. That's all absolutely smashing. But what it really lacks now is the sense of excitement, the surge of the crowd, the cheering, the raw bellow of competition. And we can put that back. Right, here we go.
They're back on track, but now all three trains are incredibly close together.
Crash coming up.
A discreet boot gets the ace out of the way of progress. And the warship just makes it into a passing loop.
Yay! The bullet train's in the lead. It's a clear run all the way to Bideford. Right, onwards.
Up the line at Fremington Quay, there's a huge crowd waiting for the trains, even though it's nearly 6 p.m. and we're over 5 hours late.
Come on, we're nearly there!
The train's coming.
I can see it!
But it's not the Atlantic Coast Express.
Oh, I know.
And neither is it the bullet train.
Oh, what is it then?
It's the diesel.
The Great Western Region diesel?
It's the warship with the coaches, because the bullet train is undergoing vital chassis maintenance.
I knew it.
I knew it as well.
Modern trains can't last the pace.
The wheels underneath are absolutely black.
That is nicht gut.
That's wonderful. This plucky little train. It's been going mile after mile through the open countryside. It's actually really quite moving, quite emotional.
My other team will be made up from people who live and work around the old track. People who absorb the spirit of Brooklands daily. I start at the head office of the electronics company that rhymes with Boney.
Right, hello everyone. Now look, the world's biggest Scalextric race is going to pass, well, actually over your pond. I've brought you a set. I want you to put it up, find out who the best drivers are, and then I need those names, and then they're going to become part of the team. This is a large corporate organisation with allegedly excellent administrative capabilities, but let's see, eh?
Is that figure 8, is it? Yeah, figure of 8, bigger loop on one side.
Do you need to have a meeting or a PowerPoint presentation or something?
Always.
You could just get on with it.
How can you got so much water? That's ridiculous.
What? Oh, look at that. So
There's holes in it.
For Pete's sake. You knew that had holes in it, didn't you? Right, I'm going home. Look at that, I can make the two jets of water play upon each other in an artistic fashion. And for this we're using a speed gun, like the police use. It's the first time anything like this has been used for something constructive. You ready?
Yep.
Go. Thank you. 13 miles an hour. Because you don't have to mix mortar, you don't have to line things up with a spirit level and a piece of string, this is actually much quicker than real building. So in the future, we may be able to have cheaper, more sociable housing at a lower cost and in much brighter colours. When archaeologists unearth this house, they will find evidence of the British public being funny. Here it is. Introducing a pink brick to an otherwise red one. Now, I didn't notice that because we were building the wall from the other side, and it wasn't until we got up to there that we spotted it, which means it's embedded forever. And if it was you who did this, I hate you.
No, we're here to look at furniture, not toys.
That's Hornby O-gauge.
I know, but we're here to look
quite
at
old.
furniture. All we're here for is to see whether you can sit in the stuff and what your reaction is onto the shapes. That's it.
Okay.
I'm not asking you to buy anything, you know. I'm not asking you
There's
to...
virtually no point sitting on that because we could...
No, you'll break it.
It's a chair.
No, you'll break it. It's mother of pearl. Rocking chair.
Difficult to do in Lego. The rock will be more sort of...
Yeah.
Smell down there.
Ah! What is it? Oh God, there's a dead fox in it.
Sorry, I forgot to tell you about
that. That's rank. Right. Have you got some sort of really fine model maker's 2mm ply so it can bend into a nice progressive curve?
Yes.
Well, that's what we'll do then.
I've got some 4mm cheap stuff. Coming in, James.
Release.
Almost genius.
That's about right. That's lovely. Send the car down.
Ready?
Yep. Oh, did you have to do... Oh, God. Up to you, please.
But there is a dark side to the phenomenal success of this toy, an approaching Lego-geddon. These moulding machines have been spewing out Lego non-stop for 50 years, and it's no longer certain that anyone knows how to stop them.
It's absolutely terrifying. Where does it all go? What happens to old Lego? It doesn't biodegrade. It's like polythene bags. It'll stick around for thousands of years. It'll survive the nuclear winter. Where is it? They can't all have gone up the vacuum cleaner. And what if these robots are taking the Lego away and making more Lego robots? What if they take over the world? There's only a tiny number of people working in this factory. They cannot possibly fight this off. There is more Lego in the world than people. We can't win.
Well, James, I'm now down at the second crossing of the River Wey where the cars come screaming off the end of the Byfleet banking, which will be very, very quick, but then the cars simply disappear into the undergrowth. And then bursts out of a tube straight into Stannyland Drive. Now, Stannyland Drive didn't exactly feature on the original Brooklyn circuit, but it's a major feature in this race. Mind the garden chair, round the pine trees, under the shade. This looks a very hazardous place. There's a bit of Pimm's over there, which might cause a bit of a problem. Who's favouring the Brooklands team? Yeah! The experts, Mercedes? No. Team are with us, boys.
But do I have to brace myself?
Come round, yes. No, I've been very kind to you. I've been very, very kind to you.
You haven't?
Nothing like me. It's been weird because I can't do any kind of curves with it, you know, and you're a very flowing sort of man, if I may say so.
No, it does look like me. I was going to suggest putting it in the attic, but this house hasn't actually got one, unfortunately.
How dare you, sir? Attic.
Yeah. Dick!
And the fluorescents go down, and that's your moody, sexy lighting.
Right, can we have it back on scene one whilst I'm with Tiff then?
I had no idea that anybody could give such an accurate impersonation of you, even to the extent that the whole of the right-hand side of your face is indeed orange. Slightly on the hard side, I would say, personally.
It's a firm bed. I think everybody, Tiffany Dull is now heading for a Pimm's and a sausage from a barbecue on Stannyland Drive. He can hardly contain himself. What's happening, Tiff?
Well, it's getting very tense down here at Standyland Drive. Here are the drivers ready. How do you know when your car's going to appear?
We hear screaming and shouting.
We believe you're in the lead, but it's neck and neck.
Yeah, apparently.
There is some screaming and shouting coming.
The Brooklands team are still in the lead as they take Sim's off-cut sewage pipe through the hedge at full chat.
Come on, Brooklands. And there it is. Oh, they're through. Yes. Oh, it's off again. It keeps on crashing. She's going too fast. James, I have the leaders. I have the leaders. And it is the red. The Brooklands Aston Martin is soaring up Standyland Drive. We haven't even seen the Mercedes yet. But the Aston Martin is absolutely roaring.